Welcome to my mess. What I'm doing is finding out how many wires are in the car that don't need to be in the car, and there's like random things everywhere. So I've gone through it, tidied up most of it. Like, look at this, have a go at this. Someone spliced into the loom, ran this black wire, spliced it somewhere into somewhere from this, and then ran it back down into that, and then off somewhere. And I was like, what the hell? So as best as I could, I couldn't find it. So I don't know what, like I couldn't get signal from the wire. If I was putting the brakes on, indicators, reverse lights, power to the ignition. So I've got no idea what actually that wire does. But anyway, I think it was to do with an alarm, because I've always said this car had an alarm because of that. And it's not there anymore. Where did it go? There's this random earth hanging down. I think that was part of it. And there's like bullshit everywhere. Like, what the fuck's that for? Honestly, what is that one for? That's not factory. None of these red wires are factory. And like, they're running into the stereo harness and shitty. Oh my god. So when they pulled the alarm out, they didn't just, you know, chop and join these two wires back together. They looped this black wire and they set it there under the carpet. What the hell? Oh my god, what you do? So none of that made sense. And then the battery got relocated to the boot, and I hate that. So I'm pulling that out. There's your power lead going up through the firewall, and I hate how that was done. So the earth was yes, about that. So I'm waiting to hear back from a guy, man about a dog, buying those hubs off me, and the suspensions in the back of the ute. I've got to ship them down to Perth as soon as he gets back to me. The power lead from the battery comes through the firewall, joins to this. This powers this, must be a trigger wire or something, and it goes to this relay and then goes to the light. Why? Why does it go there? What? Oh, far out. Moving on. This is boost for the boost gauge. So what I've got to do is undo this, put this here, and then run that up to the battery top, and then undo this, which was here, dodgy, undo this, run this over to the negative. I've just got to work out how much. I don't have a lot of room there. So what I might do is try, maybe I might actually maybe keep the, oh look at that, that just fell out. That's how shitty this is wired up. That literally just fell out of my hand. So that's primo. Okay. Give it a pull, falls out, there you go. So yeah, the electrical system in this car wasn't the best, but I'm gonna fix that because I know how to. And voila. Ooh. You know, I want some cable, hit me up. This was your battery earth. So do away with that in the boot. Put it back under the hood where it belongs, where it's safe. Tie it down properly, which wasn't done in the first place, which is why it caught fire, apparently. While I'm in here cleaning up all this shit, I'm gonna rewire speakers. I've only got a speaker there and down there. I want one here, 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 and here. And there's nothing behind those. It looks like a 6x9, but behind that it's like, I don't know if you can see that, there's like a circular pattern. There's like, I don't know, it's like a 4-inch circular, if that's a, I don't know much about speakers, but if that's a thing, 4-inch by 4-inch I suppose, circular speaker. That's kind of what it needs to be. And then, yeah, this thing should have a nice sound system in it. I was thinking do a twin 12-inch or a single 15 twin 12, because it would go forward off the hatch and come back, and that would sound so good. But I don't know. I'm not 15 anymore. I've had those days. They were fun. So I'm kind of like reliving my youth being in this car. It's real exciting. Like, I'm like, oh man, I used to have these, and oh, we used to do this, and we've done this in it, and it's just bringing it back. So that's kind of why I'm like a bit dedicated to this car. I just mainly just want to tidy it up and get it legit, get it working. So I've got a few things going so far. I've got that light, which is pretty cool that it's even there, but I've got that working. I got a new alternator in the car. I've got the suspension not raised or anything. You know what? I'm not sure it needs it. That's about 100 mil. I'm gonna do something with the exhaust though. It's a bit drony. I don't know, it's a bit drony maybe, but maybe that'll grow on me. Maybe I'll like it. Yeah, got a translator app, and I downloaded I translated the Japanese to English for the fuse panel, so I know what fuses go where, and I corrected the fuses that were in there. After doing that, I pulled the seats out, and then I found the fuse cover right there, which told me what fuses to go where. So, but you know what? Anywho, moving along. I'm gonna, another thing I wanted to do was pull the heater out, but I might not. I'll show you why. What was I doing over here? So this hose here that you can see, that one, the one that's got all the writing on it, that comes out of the block and it should go to here. There, right, and that goes into the heater core, and then it should come out there and then go back to the engine. So as you can see, that's been deleted. Not a real big deal, but it worries me. Was it deleted because they just got lazy with it? Or was it deleted because the heater core leaked back here? And I question, because I haven't touched any of this and it's not exactly tight. Why has someone been in there? And there's a bolt missing down there. And none of the cables were hooked up correctly. Sorry, one of the cables wasn't hooked up correctly. And what I mean is everything worked except aircon and heat, because the heat has been bypassed. But the way these work is you got your lever, your mechanism, then your cable, and that goes off to the part that you're adjusting. In this case, it's temperature. So hot, cold. Now the way this is set up is that it holds this little bracket, and that holds the insulation for the cable to slide through, so that the whole fucking thing doesn't move. It allows the cable to get pushed between the insulation, right? Like that. Hey, cool, huh? Pretty straightforward. That one's got one, that one's got one. Flip it over. It's missing one here. So it needs, you can see little cut marks on that. There you go. So it's had one where it's pushed and locked it against it, and that would allow, no, I can't do it with one hand, but this one is direction of flow. So I need to put a little cable locker, who's me wops it thingy me jiggy thing there, and then I can put that unit back in, because as it was, I couldn't change the direction of flow. And then I sort of dug too deep, and I was like, fuck it, let's put a sound system in it while I'm here, because why not? And so that's all I'm waiting on. I'm just gonna tidy this up a little more. I got that working. I got the sunroof working. I got the license I got the license plate lights working. They're cool. I got the boot light working in the boot. There was something I was going to show you. Oh, the windscreen washer bottle. The windscreen washer water didn't work. So I was like, that's weird. What's going on there? So I checked all the fuses, filled it up with water, and yeah, no, still didn't work. Pulled the motor out and pulled the unit out, wasn't plugged in, plugged it in, worked. Beautiful. But the back one, I was like, oh, why doesn't it work? Put water in it. Not only did it leak out, that's the electric motor. So that might explain why it doesn't work. So I tried to get those screws out, and I'm probably better to just replace the whole entire unit. And then the rear wiper water will work. Park lights, headlights have been replaced, so they work now. Yeah, it's coming along. It's definitely coming along. It's getting its functionality back. I've got the aircon line, but apparently I need to remake, well, adjust that intercooler hose down there. But look at that shitty lower water line. That's I don't like how that works. It just doesn't make sense in my head how it was done like that. It just shouldn't have been done. On other news, I'd managed to swap the T56 that I rebuilt for a TR6060, so I have one of them now. Another one. That's probably going to go in this car if it doesn't go in the other car. So yeah, that's a bit of a 5-minute update for you. What we're doing and where we're up to. Sound system install, clean up the wiring, make it legit, put the battery back under the bonnet, get everything I can working. Just little shit that I can do that people get lazy with and don't do. So once all that's done, it'll be a bloody really good car. I'm pretty excited to just tie up the loose ends and just know that if I push a button, that thing will work, or if I hit the key, it'll start. It's still got a little bit of a boost issue. It's like if you hammer it, it just plays up. But if you creep up on the throttle, it'll actually get you to go right up to the red line and it'll pull. It's quick for what it is, put it that way. But I don't know, it stops you thrashing it, I suppose. Like, you can't actually rape it, because if you try to, it just does this big hiccup and doesn't want to, I don't know what it's doing. It's like an ignition breakdown or something. Like, it's just can't take the load. So I've cleaned up the rotor on the distributor, and there was a bit of shit on there, and straight away it ran better. So maybe it just needs an overhaul on the ignition system. So that might be the next thing to do. Otherwise, yeah, I'm just gonna keep plodding along. Oh my goodness, look at what I just found. The air filter's not even, golly, how long's it been like that for? Did I do that? Fucking hell. Oh, another thing to do. Honestly, it's dumb little shit. Still need to bleed the brakes. I might need, looking at the wear, I might need to rebuild the piston, the calipers, because that's not really a good even wear. It's grabbing in the center, but not on either side. So I'll give those rotors a machine, and maybe just rebuild the pistons. The calipers, the rears are fine. They're grabbing the entire surface, so just a brake machine should be right with that. And then it's pretty much, I'm not overly fussed on the aircon, but I want a heater because it's at the moment starting to get really cold, and I would like to use the car. So I'm gonna get the heater hooked back up and hope it doesn't leak. I might shove a hose in one end and at the other and see if I can get water flowing, especially while the carpet's out. I might see if I can get water flowing. And if it leaks, well, it's an easy cleanup because there's no carpet in the way or anything. And if it doesn't leak, I'll just cut that hose that they've put in there down to size and just plug one end into the other and fill it up with coolant. And then at least that way I'll have a heater. So, I mean, in summer on the 38-degree days, you just open the sunroof windows down and pretty much just G-roll like the old days with the sounds on. And that's pretty much what I'm waiting for with this car, is just the hot weather to come back and go cruising up through the mountains in the Hunter Valley. And like, that's, you know, when you have a car and you can picture, and you can just picture going somewhere in it, or picture doing something in it, and you just want that to happen. That's all you want that car to do. Well, that's it for me. Like, go through the windy hills on the Hunter Valley Garden. It's like a real winery sort of country, so it reminds me a lot of where I'm from, and I think that's why I want to do it. In Gisborne, there was a place called Waimata Valley, and it was a real, I think it's where the Rhythm and Vines is held, which is a yearly fucking party. People camp there and It's good fun, Rhythm and Vines. It's in Gisborne, New Zealand. And anyway, the Waimata Valley is real similar to the Hunter Valley here. So I think that's kind of why I like it. And I like this car because it like takes me back to those days. So I think I'm reliving a bit of youth there, which is really cool. I'm thankful that I'm able to put my current life on a bit of hold, if that makes sense. Like, and go back and relive what I was doing. So that's kind of cool that I can actually do that. Some people don't get that chance, or they get too tied up and caught up in their current life, and they don't, you know, just sort of for an example, just stop and stare at the stars. You know what I mean? Like, just this is a bit of a time capsule for me. So I'm really pumped to be able to just sunroof back, sounds on, dog in the back, a couple of cars with us, and just roll, just cruise through the Hunter Valley. Can't wait. It's pretty, that's sort of what I want to do. And you know, everyone has their little, when they buy a car or a motorbike or a boat, they have their thing that they want to go to, their place that they want to go to and just explore, and that's it. Just knocked a bottle over. So yeah, anyway, a bit of an update and a bit of shit talking. Got a day off today, so that's why I'm not at work. And that's also why I haven't been filming much, because I've been at work. Waiting on the guy to call me about the hubs and the suspension for the GTR version of this that I got with it. Putting a stereo in this car, rewiring it, and just finding dumb shit and just fixing it up. Hopefully I don't sell it before summer, but I might, you know what, $5 you can come have it. You'll all know that it's built properly or done properly, or if there's anything that isn't, you know, because of these videos, you'll already know what needs to be done, or, you know, whatever. So yeah, maybe I'll sell it. I'll put $5 on it, $5.5 grand, and I'll just see if I can take 5 or nearest offer to it. So once something happens, I'll make another shoot. I think the next one will just probably be like, first thing come to mind when I say the next video will probably be like the stereo install or something, but we'll see. First things first, I've got to sell parts that came with the car to get money for that. So using that money that I sell the parts for to buy parts for the car, if that makes sense. I'm not actually trying to use money out of my account. So that's pretty much it. It's the latest and greatest from your one and only Adam Bekkers. What a guy. Anyway, enough shit talking. I'm sort of rambling and going around in circles. So that's the end of that. I'm pretty done with this until we get a stereo or wiring for the speakers, or until I put the battery under the boot. What is my dog doing? Busted. Look at him. What are you doing, boss? Eating the lawns, mate. Alright, so I'll see you in the next one. Bye.